essentially.
What?
Like if a woman just doesn't want to have sex all the time but she's still like having sex, like it's not like all the time, and the guy is not feeling satisfied and is putting pressure and it's putting the whole relationship in jeopardy because of that one sole aspect, I think it's very shallow.
Okay, very shallow.
There's so much more to a relationship than sex. So much more.
Would you yourself be in an asexual relationship?
No.
Well, that's rather
Why are you
shallow.
asking that? Why are you asking that?
Well, you're saying that. So, I mean, I agree with you that there's more to a relationship than just sex. Absolutely. But it's just kind of interesting. You yourself. I guess it's not a.
What priority, I guess, would be a good question. Like, if we all agree that a relationship is composed of various aspects, if sex, I would say most people argue that it's a fairly important, depending on their age, aspect. So what level of importance on like 1 to 10 is regular sex?
I would say like the top 3, but it shouldn't determine the destiny of a relationship. I don't think it's fair.
I have a follow-up question. If a girlfriend of yours came to you and said, I'm dating this guy, things are otherwise pretty good, but I want to have sex and he's not giving me sex, and she was contemplating breaking up with him, would you?
Oh, like definitely say that's not okay. Like you should have a conversation with him.
Consistent.
You should be at least having a conversation, mention it, and then if you were able to work through it and try to.
What does working through it look like, though, when one person, whether man or woman, wants to have a higher frequency of sex in a relationship and the other doesn't?
But finding a compromise, maybe perhaps the person is working so much and they don't have time to just be home and having sex all the time. And maybe the other one is not, they're a stay at home or.
If a guy was dating a woman and he stopped paying for dates, and she wanted him to pay for dates, would that be sufficient justification for her to dump him?
If that's her top 3 and she doesn't like it, then that's her. If it's free will, yes, she can.
Well, but so you indicated it was wrong for a man to dump his girlfriend if she regularly turns him down for sex. Let me change it a little bit. Let's say it's a dead bedroom and they're not having sex at all. And it's on her part, right? He wants to keep having sex, but she's not about it. Justified to break up or end the relationship.
I would say, especially even for marriage, you're supposed to really work through things. It's till death do us apart. And to just really break something without working through it and trying to find a compromise or a middle ground, or maybe there's a reason why they're depressed, they're not really focusing in their sexual activity. There's so many things to talk through, then it's not just surface level black and white.
Well, sure, I guess there could be problems, but what if those problems are attempted to have been worked through and she still just doesn't want to have sex?
Then that's a problem. Yeah, that would indicate I would just end the relationship then.
But you would say it would be wrong to end the relationship for that reason.
I think I came from the perspective of, like, I've been in relationships before where I felt pressured to engage in sexual activity and I just didn't feel comfortable. And that was enough for them to be like, this is not going to go anywhere. And I felt pressured to give that to them to keep them around. And I don't think that's right. I think at the end of the day, like, a woman should be able to say no when she doesn't want to. And there's so much more to a relationship than just feeling ultimately drawn to sex. Like that.
Yeah, I agree with you that a woman should say no, and that should be 100% respected. But I don't think I would fault the man who entered into this relationship with the expectation that it would be a component of the relationship would be that it would be a sexual relationship, and then she's kind of walked this back. I don't think there's anything wrong with him him ending the relationship for solely that reason.
Now, question, you mentioned, let's say it's a dead bed. They're not having sex at all. Did this happen since the start, or did it just happen towards the end?
I'd say it's usually a more progressive thing, so it's maybe the sex life was better, then it became worse, and then it became non-existent.
So to me, it sounds like they got into a relationship they were sexually compatible. Now something is happening within the relationship, within themselves or the relationship, that's causing this to happen.
What if the guy's not doing anything and it's just on her? It's just her part.
What do you mean?
I don't know. She just doesn't like, she's not into sex anymore. He's otherwise treating her just the same.
Is that like a common occurrence for a person that's sexually active at the beginning to just suddenly be like, no? I don't think that's very common. I mean, I'm sure there's scenarios. I'm sure there's like not a never in that. Maybe there's a scenario in a case, but that's like an exception, I would say. And commonly, like there could be a relationship is through waves. You could be going through a financial instability, a job loss, a death of a family, and like you're not thinking about sex all the time. And
sure,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like if, for example, like your girlfriend is sick, like let her recover. Like you don't need to be pressing for, I think you can give somebody grace in moments of, even if you're horny, like, okay, she's like feeling really terrible. We don't need to have sex right now. But if it's like, if we're looking at a consistent pattern where she's otherwise okay, but she's not having sex as frequently as he would like, I don't see what would actually be wrong with him breaking up with his girlfriend.
To me, it's situational. If they are they talked about it, try to work through it, and it didn't work out, then it makes sense to break it off. If it's just there was no conversation and they just abruptly ended things, I don't think that's fair.
Okay. And then Kyla, your position on this?
It would basically be like, it depends on why she's withholding sex, right? So if it's like to spite him, I think that's a pretty good reason to end your relationship. Like, that's a terrible relationship. If she just had, vaginal birth and she's in a fair bit of pain and needs time to heal, maybe even a fair bit of time, I think good partners are like patient for that. So it really depends on like what her reason is and what level of steps she's taken to like rectify that issue so that they can come back, because partners need to have sex with each other. It's a really important part of relationship.
Right. What is, maybe this is a bit of a dicey conversation. What is the Christian perspective on this? So you guys are married. The wife doesn't want to have sex anymore.
I don't know what that is.
Like, do you believe in spousal rape? That would be like the question.
Essay. Let's try that.
No, I mean, I think that's the case, generally speaking, that Christians have a pretty good sex life. And if that were to occur and it was a problem, that's something that could be talked about independently with a priest. But then there's other aspects, like if someone's like sick, you mentioned, like let's say it's a terminal illness, I'm actually not sure what the pathway would be for expectation of sex, given that the person's not temporarily ill. Like, does it suddenly bring into question, do you have sick sex? Do you have like I don't know how that would work, honestly. I don't know the answer to that question for every single situation. Jay,
I mean, there's the notion of the marital debt, which is the idea that in the marital relationship, both parties are expected to sacrifice and engage in things that the other party might not necessarily want, and that's expected when you go into the marital relationship. So there's going to be times when that happens with both partners, but I think that it's irrational, it's unreasonable to have the expectation that people should be always having sex, even in situations where it's like damaging or something like that. So no, there's all things within reason, and